when no one else wants to host a podcast. They call them. They are just cool enough. Mine's Joe. Ba, ba, ba. Now let's go live on all this bullshit. Think that worked?
It says live in the corner. I guess we're live.
No, I meant like live on.
Yeah, the other one.
On the other bullshit that I have to do. Yeah, I think everything's probably working. If not, fuck it. We'll figure it out later. Anyways, let's start this show. Hey there, Internet. I'm Eric.
And we're broadcasting beautiful views 24 hours a day. You're tuned into the Scenery Channel.
Yeah. So check out some trees.
That was a quote from Back to the Future too.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of Back to the Future.
No, I think so. Well, you would recognize that. Really.
And let me just stretch here for video listeners who can confirm that I don't like Back to the Future.
I bought my Back to the Future DeLorean in Rocket League already.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, Rocket League had that has that thing. I thought about doing that, but I haven't gotten around to it.
Well, I mean, you're not a big fan. I can see why you didn't rush to do it.
Yeah, I just woke up today and I was like, I gotta get a haircut, and then I had to decide which of my two Back to the Future T-shirts I was gonna wear, and then I was like, I want to see The Martian, but it's playing at weird times. It's either gonna be like too close to the show or too close to this thing I'm going tonight where they're doing a live reading of Back to the Future 2. So yeah, it's just been real hard, especially when you don't like Back to the Future.
And then being forced to go to it, yeah, I can understand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to go. I'm definitely choosing to go, but yeah. Back to the Future. Yeah.
You know, Joe's off this week in fucking Iceland, Greenland. I don't know where the fuck he is. He's off in space and time somewhere, exploring the universe.
He's actually, he was sent back in time, and he's dealing with that. He's trying to fix his own timeline, but he's only going to make it. He's going to show up here fatter and balder just because he stepped on a twig and then broke this time-space continuum and all that shit.
So, how's your week been?
My week's been pretty good. It started out. I wanted to talk about this. I thought Joe would be proud of this. I know he listens to this. He listens to the show when he's not on it. That's how weird he is.
I listen to the show less when he's not on it.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I'm actively not listening at all, more than I would during the normal show. Mm-hmm. But so I've been driving for about a month and a half now. And one of the things was our car, like I mentioned it before, I think, I talked about this before, where when we got the car in 2001, it had a tape deck and a CD player because, no one expected you would need anything more than that. I mean, the idea that it had a CD player was crazy. And then we eventually got one of those tape deck things that you can plug that has an audio jack and stuff, but our tape deck stopped working. And talked about my adventures of researching the idea of trying to swap out the actual car's stereo system, which isn't that hard, ideally, to pull out and stuff and switch. It's just this whole ordeal where for like $50 you can buy a new stereo, but none of the wiring is standardized. So you either have to buy all these converter boxes or splice the wires or pay some mechanic $100 to do it for you, and it just was not worth it for their car that we might replace in a couple of months. But then I thought, I'll get they sell those radio transmitters where you can plug it in and then it actually transmits over the car radio, and it plugs right into the
adapter. Yeah,
in the cigarette lighter. And I bought one, and then it didn't work, and I wasn't sure. And then I was like, why isn't this? Is it? No, it can't be. So I took out the car charger that we've had forever that I never used, plugged in the cigarette lighter. Hey, the cigarette lighter doesn't work. So I spent the past few weeks off and on researching if I could replace it, what I would have to do. And I saw this thing about this guy like took, he had a Cavalier like me and taking the cigarette lighter out. And because it's a Cavalier, that's like a huge fucking process. You got to pull the whole goddamn like fucking dashboard off just to get that cigarette lighter, because that's how they built this car. And I just was like, I can't do it. And then I don't know what struck me, but I was just like, one day I would just, again, it popped in my head and I did a quick Google search. I saw something about replacing fuses. And I was like, fuses, eh? And then I looked it up. The fuse box is just a little, you can get to it.
It's like super small.
Yeah, it's a little panel that you can just pop right up. You don't have to like fucking go through the trunk and pull out the drive shaft in order to get it like everything else. And it's right there next to you. You just open the door, you pop it out. It's right next to the steering wheel. I was like, oh. So I did that. I opened it up, and it's even labeled on there which fuse is for the cigarette lighter. I was like, huh. And it comes with a little tool to grab the fuse out. I'm like, what? Maybe. So last Thursday before work, there's an AutoZone not that far from Universal. So I thought, maybe I'll just check it out. A box of fuses will cost about $6 if I get the right one. So I made sure to I spent a couple of minutes making sure I got, because they come in different sizes. I picked the one that looked like it was similar to the ones that I'd seen. I was like, this is about the right size. I should have I double checked going back out, grabbing the fuse and bringing it in with me, but luckily I picked the right size. So I go in there, I find them, I pay for them. It's $6, and I'm like, okay. And then I thought, well, since I'm here, I might as well swap them out. And I have one of those cell phone holders that plugs into. When I bought it, I thought it was smart because it plugs into the cigarette lighter, which is a nice place for it. And that way I can charge it while I'm holding it there and stuff. And it sits there most of the time now. And I have it sitting there. And then I open the little panel, takes just a little thing, and then I grab the one fuse, the cigarette lighter fuse, put in a new one, and I thought I wouldn't
car
notice
explodes.
No, I thought you have to turn the ignition on for instance. But what I didn't realize is the cigarette lighter is always running. Even if the car's, I didn't even notice that because my cell phone holder that plugs it in didn't even know this. I've had it for a month now. It has a little blue LED, which I noticed immediately when I put the fuse in. I was like, okay, maybe that works.
So are you unplugging this whole time that you thought your phone's been charging when it's been sitting? No,
I never charged it anyways, because it doesn't. It's not like it sits in there and it charges. It's got a little USB port that you have to plug. I knew it wasn't plugged in. I was just using it as a holder because I didn't really ever have to charge it. But I was immediately, as soon as I close the panel and sit back in my seat and I see a little blue LED I've never seen before, I'm like, oh my God, I just fixed my car. I just did something manly and fixed my car. That's awesome.
I was going to ask if you ran out and grabbed a beer and leaned up against it with a bunch of other men, but I guess that'll be the next thing. Baby steps. No,
what I did was I go, oh God, that took a lot longer than I thought it was. I got to get to work. I was 4 minutes before my call time. I was like, that took longer than I expected.
Shit, being a man takes a long time. I can't afford this. I got shit to do.
It's hard. But yeah, I didn't. So now I was experiment. I was like, oh my God, it worked. And I on the way home, I plugged in the FM tuner thing, and that works. Doesn't sound good. I mean, it sounds kind of not great, honestly. I don't think I'll use it that much. But it's a thing that works in my car, and I have a working car cigarette lighter, and I can charge my phone, which is nice. Especially because Friday, some asshole decided that he was going to stand on one of the overpasses on the 101 freeway, which I take to work, and one of the main freeways in and out of the Hollywood area and stuff like that. And he was going to jump to his death. Mind you, it's 30 feet up, so he would not die from it. Shut down the freeway.
Could he hit a car? Is he praying that he hits a car in order to kill him?
Maybe. I don't know. If he went straight head first or got run over, he might. I don't know. It was probably more of a.
But that's a lot of things that have to be in the right place at the right time for it to happen.
And so they shut. I remember I was sitting I was like sitting there, and I was like, should I check the traffic? Should I? I know Friday it's bad. You know, going to work at that time, it's going to be bad. It's going to take me like 25 minutes instead of 5. But I checked the traffic, and it's like, currently on the freeway, 1 hour and 9 minutes. I'm like, I live 4 miles from Universal Studios. How is it taking me an hour and 9 minutes? Because they shut down the freeway, and it's just about the only way in. It looks like it. So I luckily I found out in time I could take Surface Street, so it only took me 40 minutes to go the 5 miles instead of an hour, and I made it to work with 2 minutes to spare. But it was nice because I could charge my phone while I was on the way, so I didn't have to have a shitty uncharged phone on there, which was nice.
You could listen to terribly staticky music coming out of your phone.
Mostly I was using it I was using the GPS, which drains the battery a lot, as anyone who's ever used GPS on your phone does, because I wasn't familiar with the various surface streets along the way.
They have these here? The fuck?
Yeah. But it was nice. Yeah, so I have a working car cigarette lighter, which is great. I can drive around and charge my phone and do all kinds of stuff. And that was a big thing. I felt very, very accomplished by
Joe's not even here to appreciate it.
Yeah, he would have been like, of course it's that. And I was like, well, why didn't you tell me that a month and a half ago when I talked about this on the show?
Well, it was, I'm sure, again, Joe's birthday is going on over the past weekend on Saturday, and mine was on the Sunday. And last weekend I went and bought myself a Wii U. So I've joined the Wii U group of people. I've not been technically. I bought my girlfriend the Wii U for her birthday, and
like
I got all
you technically bought Joe Star Wars toys for his birthday, and he bought you.
So, and then I got myself a whole bunch of games to go with my girlfriend's Wii U.
Well, you don't want her to not have games. I mean, that's the worst when like you're a kid and your parents can afford the console but not the games. So I remember, like, I when I got my Xbox, my original Xbox, all I had was Halo, and it was great, but I beat it in a day.
Well, we got Yoshi's Woolly World. That's what we've been playing. I got that with a $50 gift certificate at Best Buy. We got Smash Brothers. That was one that I convinced her to buy me for my birthday, and then I picked up Mario Party 10 as a gift from her mom. I don't remember how it went, but anyway, I ended up buying all the games, and the only game she got was the one that came on the Wii U, which was Mario Kart 8. But that way we could game together. But it's still weird. I'm trying to give the Wii U a chance. I just felt like the Wii was a very like party centered game. I didn't take it seriously as a gaming platform. It's kind of like an iPad. Like, it can play games, but I don't feel like it's any of the games that I really want to play. But spending a little bit of time at GameStop just perusing like the titles and seeing things that are like Splinter Cell and things like that, like the titles are there, but I'm just not sure how the gameplay fares out. That's
one of the things the Wii U, they were trying to bridge that gap. It's kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out from what they were doing, because they wanted to sell it, which I think is why it struggled so much at the beginning. But it's because people are like, well, why would I get this instead of an Xbox? And then people who had Wiis who don't play video games were like, well, I already got this Wii. Why would I need this other thing? But I think, it does better because you can buy an actual just real controller and stuff like that, and the giant Wii controller functions just like a regular controller would, so it's got its
and
points.
You can play on the Wii controller with the TV on a different channel.
Yeah, so it's got its little things. If I didn't go so like completely into PC gaming, I might consider picking one up but I don't know if there's enough titles out yet, because
well, you can play all the Wii games on it.
Yeah,
I can play some of Wii. It can't play any N64 stuff because they only.
Yeah, but neither can. It can't play GameCube, but neither can my Wii, because I bought one of the last gen's Wiis, which doesn't have backwards compatibility or ports or anything like that. But yeah, it's it could play on my Wii games, which would be fine, and they'd be like Wind Waker HD. I'd be excited to play, and maybe a few other titles, but there's nothing really jumping out at me like, oh my god, I must get a Wii for this game.
Agreed, because I'm also like the console games that I have are all like Rock Band, and so I almost thought about saying what I wanted for my birthday as my gift was like an Xbox One or something I could play Rock Band on. But I ended up going the route of the Apple TV next gen, which comes out next month. So my girlfriend's going to get that for me.
Yeah, I considered going for like maybe like a PS4 or something at some point. But again, there's no, like, everything's coming out on the PC nowadays. So there's very little that's out that's exclusive. I got like if Metal Gear wasn't on the PC, I would have not bought a new graphics card, and I would have gotten a PlayStation 4. But it came out on the PC, so I didn't need to. The only thing is, like, the new Uncharted will be on the PS4. Will be a PS4 exclusive, and that's like, oh, I would really like that, but I don't know if I would get it just for Uncharted.
Yeah. Well, and I'm with you on that. I'm trying to look for other titles. I mean, not being a huge console player myself, PC stuff, but also wanting to start to play more games with my girlfriend since she doesn't play PC. Wii seemed like a nice whimsical way to go.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really great titles on there that for people who aren't really into games. I mean, Splatoon looks like it's a lot of fun. I hear great things about that. And everybody I know is huge into like Smash Brothers. I've never really jumped on the Smash Brothers train, but people love that game. I enjoyed
Smash. That was one of the first ones I played for the Wii, was Smash Brothers back in college. So I made sure when we had my girlfriend's brother's Wii that I picked it, or that we borrowed it. But now that we have a Wii U, we picked up Smash Brothers Wii U, and it's a lot of fun. I like the little amiibo kind of catch-all to it too. So we have a few of those sitting around.
Oh, God damn it. Because you don't have enough cheap plastic tchotchkes around.
What do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. I can't wait for this month's Loot Crate, although I already watched the video of somebody else unboxing it, so I completely robbed myself of that experience. But there's supposed to be a Doc Brown in it from Pop Vinyl.
Yeah, great.
Well, I've spaced it out in my dining room. I have this like lip that goes around the top of the room, and I've spaced it out so that each Pop Vinyl is exactly 2 hands apart from the next one. And then I started getting more Pop Vinyls like this one here. He doesn't have a home yet because he falls apart. He doesn't have a home yet because in order to give him a home, he needs to fit in between 2 of the other ones, but my OCD kicks in and says, well, then I need to have one in between every single one, which is why I have so many to begin with at this point.
Next thing, Amanda wakes up, you're at just drawing on the wall, just calculating what the exact distance. If I had him in, so it has to be exactly 14 inches apart, but with him it's stand, so it takes it to 13.17 inches. So I'm going to need, Amanda, we need more tape. Yeah.
That's pretty much what's going to happen. I mean, I know that I want to get Tim the Enchanter from Monty Python. He comes out next month. Not that I'm waiting for these things, or do research on them. Speaking of research, we got a few emails, and by a few I mean one real email and a couple of fake ones. Apparently, I've been pronouncing, which I knew, Freak's name wrong the whole time. It's pronounced Frake, and although he said, "Wow, 300 episodes, great job." And wished us a happy 300th episode. He missed it.
Yeah.
We got this email 5 days ago. Yeah. A little slow, but we'll read it anyway because it's not from Brady. It says, wow, 300 episodes. Great job. I hope this email will be read on your celebration episode.
You're literally super late. Like, I don't know what like, I don't know if your country gets the internet 2 weeks later than everyone else, but
here's old content. Congratulations. Anyway, I guess that will only happen if I add some content. No, that will really only happen if you yourself invent the DeLorean and go back and email this at the right time. Yeah. I heard Joe's been traveling a lot. I've met him in Amsterdam, and so I know he's not lying. I'll be traveling to Israel, Tel Aviv, for a few days this month because I like to live dangerous, I guess. But I want to travel to some other places around the world, like Australia and Canada. What places do you guys still want to travel and why? Maybe even how? Boat, train, hot air balloon. And it wouldn't surprise me if you had this question on an earlier episode. I forget. Since you're doing giveaways, I'll give you some Steam keys. I enjoy all these games, so please, play them yourself or give them to a listener. And he gave us a few Steam keys. Anyway, troll you later from Frake.
See, he even has the troll you later thing, which we said on the 300th episode. So Clearly,
maybe he's a time traveler and he got all confused and sent at the wrong time and meant to. He was the one who was trying to be responsible for us to come up with that.
It's all Doctor Who-y stuff where he can grasp the biggest things, but the small things he can't conceive of because he lived such a fourth dimensional life. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of places I haven't traveled a lot. Well, I guess I've traveled more than some. I've been to the Grand Canyon and Monument Valley, which were fantastic. I think any American definitely should go see those places, especially the Grand Canyon, because it is. I mean, no picture has ever done it justice. You have to see it with your own eyes in order to really understand the scale of it. And Monument Valley is, you look out your window and you see the backdrop for every John Wayne movie ever made, and it's amazing. My parents traveled. We traveled a little bit. I've been to San Francisco a lot, so because we live so close to it, and we went on a cruise, so I got to see Jamaica and the Grand Cayman Islands and stuff like that, and a little bit of Florida. And I've been to Washington D.C. and Virginia. But there are places I've never been to New York. That's one of those places I feel like I really want to go. Australia, I'm with you. I've always Australia seems like a great place. Japan is one of those areas that's like I would love to go to Japan someday. I'm sure I might. Who knows? Except Mass Vanyer and rest of them. He just has an aneurysm and dies on the show, and he never gets to go anywhere. That's how that joke ends. For anyone not listening live.
So wait, have you in fact left the country?
Yeah, I mean, I've been
to Canada.
No, I've never been to Canada. I've never been to Canada, but I've been to Jamaica, parts of Mexico. I don't know. I don't know if it was an island on Mexico or if we went on land. The Grand Cayman Islands.
It's really hard to tell when you're thrown in the trunk and then driven on the back of a plane and flown over.
I was 13, and it was a Caribbean cruise. So we stopped at Jamaica, we stopped at the Grand Cayman Islands, we stopped at Haiti, and we stopped at Mexico. But I don't know if it was like.
Did anybody put any balloons up your ass?
No. No. But they got. I remember they were very clear because we went through a plantation and stuff. They're like, "Hey, look at all this fruit," and they were like, "You can't bring any of that fruit with you. You have to fucking just throw it on the ground and get on the boat. You either stay in Jamaica with your fruit, or you drop the fruit, throw the fruit out, and come on board." So that was fun. But yeah, I've been to. That's the extent of my leaving the country. Was that one Caribbean cruise when I was 13. So technically I've left the country, and I've seen other cultures slightly. I've seen other cultures for about 3 hours at a time every other day, because that's how
the Discovery Channel is essentially, except in person.
I mean, that's what cruises are like. They're like, "Hey, we're in Jamaica. You guys enjoy Jamaica. We're leaving at 5. If you're not on the boat, then you're fucked." So so it's kind of like speed dating the country, But so technically I have. And I got to, when I was in junior high, I went on this, it was great. It was a solo trip. It was a school trip to Washington, D.C. and Virginia in that area. And that was fun because it was with a bunch of people I didn't know, but people from my school, and my parents went there, and it was awesome. And I got to do all kinds of stuff and see our nation's capital. So I've traveled a bit, more than I'm sure many people have. But, I'm a privileged white guy, so I always want more.
I was born in Arizona, so I've traveled across the United States, but too young to really remember. I know that I've been to the Grand Canyon, but once again, too young to remember. And I've been out to California, which I do remember a few times for BlizzCons. And I've gone to Canada because that's what every self-respecting American should do, to realize how much better they have it up there. But property taxes are higher,
especially now that their prime minister is ousted.
And I have been to Slovakia. I've been to Slovenia. I've been to Austria. I've been to Budapest. I've been to Sicily and part of the tip of Italy for a short period of time. I've made a stop over in Amsterdam a few times, but nothing outside of the airport. Just 'cause it was
That's how I feel about some
cold pot brownies, but at least, whatever.
That's how I feel about some of the places. It's like, how many states have you been to? I was like, well, technically, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Did Texas a bunch of times, but only ever the airport. Never like different airports, but I've never left the airport. It's always a connecting flight somewhere, so I've never technically been to Texas.
Oh, Michigan now. I can put that on my list.
Yeah, I've been to Michigan. I've been to Michigan and spent like a day and a half there. Sycamore, Idaho, or Iowa, or whatever, where the fuck Cadwellian was from.
For 2 hours before you drove back to Michigan?
Yeah. No, it was 4 hours because we knew we were we knew there's a time zone between his place and Michigan, but we for some reason thought we were going ahead in time instead of backwards. So we actually arrived 2 hours. So we left 2 hours earlier than we needed to because we thought we were losing an hour instead of gaining one. So we actually,
if you need to be there at 10 o'clock, you should leave at 10 o'clock to get there for 10 o'clock. But you left at like 8 o'clock and got there at like 6 o'clock.
We need to be there at like 3 or something, and we left at like 10 in the morning because it takes like 8 hours to get there, and we thought actually we left like we left at like 8 or 6 maybe even because we thought we were like losing an hour, and then we get there and realized we were 2 hours earlier than we even intended to. We intended to get there like an hour early, so we took a nap in the church parking lot, did donuts, then bought fast food at a really nice joint nearby, and then sat in the car for another hour before anyone else showed up. That was Idaho, Iowa, one of those places.
Oh, the flat place with all the trees.
Yeah.
Well,
Illinois. It was Illinois because I remember we drove around Chicago but not through it.
Wow, all those I states look the same to you.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, they do because when you take the freeways, it's all the same. I mean, apparently we traveled into Indianapolis, but I had no clue because there's no sign. It's not like there's like. I guess when you're traveling from California to other states, there's very clear signage. But like when you go into those, because all the states on the West Coast are so big that they're very clear. Like you're in this state now, but they're like the borders are all like so jumbled and right next to each other that it's like I guess it's like welcome to Idaho because leaving Idaho, welcome to leaving. It'd be like every 20 feet you'd be told you're in a different thing because. So I think they just like when you get to a major city, we'll tell you which state you're in.
Well, you have these 3 Steam CD keys for different things. I think people should write into the show at Just Cool Enough and tell us who would make a better co-host than Joe. And then we'll give out those Steam. You can write in before the end of the show, and we'll try to read them out. Or you can write in for next week, which is probably preferable because I think Joe will be back by then. Or at least he'll let us know a half hour before time that he won't be there.
Yeah.
And then we can make Joe read them. I think that's the next best part.
So, I don't know if you know this, but there's this movie called Star Wars, Star Forge, Force Sleep. Some big like some new movie from that guy that did Star Trek. I think it's a sequel to Star Trek because it's the same guy that did those 2 movies. It's coming out. And I guess
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's strange. I'm too lazy to grab there's so many Star Wars shit in my room right now that I could reach to.
I don't understand what you mean by Star Wars.
Yeah,
I've never heard of it.
So the new trailer dropped, and I almost didn't watch it because I heard somebody talk about this once. And it rung true with me that there are too many trailers. That's obviously there's like a teaser for a trailer, and then there's like 3 or 4 different trailers, and then there's the TV version which has new and by the end of and that's like so it's like.
Do you see the whole movie out of order, but you've pretty much seen all the good stuff?
Yeah, and then it's like a year in advance you start hearing all this shit, and so like I heard it from some internet personality, I can't remember who was saying that he'll watch like maybe the first trailer and or maybe not even a trailer at all if it's something big like an Avengers and just go in cold and tends to enjoy it more. And I thought that's kind of smart. So I almost didn't watch this new Star Wars trailer because I was like, and honestly, I wish I hadn't because there's so much of the footage is like, there's almost no footage from the other trailers in this. So that's more stuff. They still don't, luckily it's J.J. Abrams and he's good at not telling you a lot. So it's a lot of people staring at things and reacting to stuff, but nothing. You don't see anything. There's not a lot of big, really great action shots like there was in the
so it's kind of like the show. It's a bunch of pictures of people staring at things and not a whole lot of action.
Yeah, but it. I think he's better at it than not giving it away than other people. He's great at marketing movies. But yeah, I kind of. So I'm trying to like not jump into that culture of watching all the trailers and watching all the clips. I mean, I don't watch like the clips because I think movie clips out of context are always terrible. I've never enjoyed them. I don't know a time where I've ever seen 2 minutes of a out of context clip of a movie coming out in a week that I've been like, yeah. I'm always like, that's weird. I don't understand what's going on. Like it's and especially like whenever. I never understood why they do this when like they're on a talk show. Like I remember like I think Samuel L. Jackson was on a talk show for the original Avengers, and they showed like a clip which is like just the very like beginning of Avengers, just like him talking to like it's just like him talking and him sort of like monitor. I was like, oh, what? And you know, I hate clips, but I'm gonna try and like not do that in the past, but. Long story short, I fucking watched it anyways. Then there were like tickets now available. I was like, that's stupid. Who pre-orders tickets? And then a couple of my friends were like, hey, you want to do that thing we always do where we go see a movie in Burbank on the opening day? I was like, yeah. So I pre-ordered tickets too. So I'm one of those people who pre-ordered their Star Wars tickets. I actually it's funny because we're like definitely like. Let's pre-order the non-3D because I don't like 3D movies, and I don't. They're not worth it. It's never worth it. It's never good. But the first showing that they had in 3D at like 7 was sold out, so we had to go to 8. So it's not technically the first showing, but it's not technically the second show. But so basically, I'm seeing it at 8 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock like everyone else. But it's still like, and now we're like, God. Like everyone else has jobs besides like me and one other guy. So yeah, we're like, yeah, I guess the two of us will show up 4 hours.
On the 17th or the 18th? Because the
17th. It's definitely 17th. Yeah, that's the because midnight showings start at 7 o'clock now.
Because they no longer do midnight showings.
Because of course they do. But yeah, so it's so me and one other guy are going to basically show up. I think the current plan is 4 hours early, which I'm worried is too early, but I'm also worried is not nearly early enough to reserve seats because it's not because you don't pick your seats in this one. And I'm convinced that we're going to show up and they're like, what the fuck are you doing here 4 hours early? Go home. But
I'm thinking if you can't reserve your seats, you're going to show up. There's going to be a line there.
Yeah.
But also trying to get a collector's edition of like.
But also they're like this theater. It's a multiplex with like 14 screens, and every one of them is showing Star Wars at that moment. Like, you know, and we're doing the 8 o'clock showing, not the 7 or 7:30s. And there's a bunch of those like in 3D, non-3D, reserved seats, special seating. So I figure we'll be okay because ours wasn't sold out a day after the tickets came out. So we're hoping that 4 hours is enough, but it's going to be a weird experience because normally when we do these things, we go to like the marathons. This was the same theory.
Where they play it all together and you get to...
Yeah. And I considered it, if they were just doing like the original 3...
4, 5, and 6?
Yeah, then I would have possibly done it. But they're always like everywhere I've seen, and I haven't looked that hard, is doing like all like the prequels and the I'm like, I'm not going to sit through the fucking prequels. Like, I don't want to, like, why would you do that to yourself? Why would you sit through the prequels and then what, like, it's gonna. Actually, that's kind of smart because especially if they play them in not chronological order and then play them in order of release. So you're like, yes. And you're like, and then you get to Force Awakens and you're like, yo, fuck, it's so good. So
you hope, or you've been jaded on the shitty ones that you just sat through. You're like, fuck, I gotta sit through another one.
Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I'm just going in cold watching it. I'll probably watch the originals myself at a later, beforehand, or maybe in.
Now, are you watching the originals like the remastered? Let's throw in some fucking bad CG, or are you watching like the originals?
I don't know. It'd be tough because I remember I went to a couple of months ago. Me and my friend Eric went to a screening of Empire Strikes Back, and it was the Laserdisc version, which is the most complete original version of the movies. It's still tweaked a little bit, but it's basically the one that's the most like it was when it released in theaters, because everything else has been changed. Even the VHS versions were changed and stuff like that. So the Laserdisc Empire Strikes Back is probably the best one, and that was nice seeing that. And one of the things I didn't realize, because I'd never seen anything pre or I'd seen some of the older ones, but like the most like notable ones I'd watched were like the VHS re-releases in the big box that everyone got in the 90s or whatever. The original actor from Empire Strikes Back who played the Emperor is not the same one who plays him in Return of the Jedi. And I did not know that until we were watching the Laserdisc version. And I noticed that's not the fucking guy. Like, he's only in there for like half a second, and it's a hologram, and he's like, Vader, blah, 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 blah. And then he's gone. But it's a completely different actor. And then in the VHS release, they swapped him back out, or they swapped him out, which I'd never known that if I hadn't seen the Laserdisc version, which is awesome. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, as much as I loathe parts of the DVD versions, I don't know. We'll see.
See, I remembered as a kid getting my hands on like the remade ones on VHS with the computer. I was like, I remember watching, just be like, these are really cool. Like, I like the little extra bits here and there. And I've gone back and watched it strictly from a visual standpoint. I've gone back and watched them like, holy shit. Is this like what my parents have gone through? My father, when it's like as a little boy and you're watching the black and whites of like the giant cat or spider or some bullshit attacking the city, and it's like
none of
you
the
can
CG
clearly tell that it's like a terrible whatever, and then you're looking at the. I remember as a kid being like, "This looks amazing," and I've looked back, I'm like, "That looks shittier than most of the Zelda games I remember coming out."
None of the CG works. None of the CG from the VHS versions works anymore. It's all garbage, because it's right at that point where CG started to become acceptable in movies, when it all looks bad. Every single bit of it looks bad.
I kind of want to go back and watch like not Spirited Away, Spirits Within, I think what it was, the Final Fantasy movie. Like I remember seeing like, be like, this is pretty fucking beautiful, and I kind of want to go back and watch it.
It still looks good because it's completely CG. It's not CG elements over realistic stuff, and I think it still probably looks pretty good, especially because it cost so much fucking money to make that movie. It was horrendously over budget. But yeah, the CG elements in it are garbage. That whole scene with Jabba the Hutt and Han Solo, it doesn't work. It stops the movie. Like, the movie stops so that scene can happen. That's horribly paced. It doesn't work. It's got that stupid joke where he steps on his tail that looks terrible, because it looks like somebody they took the shot, took Harrison Ford out of it, put a little plastic man in there. You can almost like imagine like seeing the fingers of a little kid going, ee, ow, and then cut back to Harrison Ford. Like, it just, none of that stuff works. It's all horrible.
I also was sitting playing Rocket League because I could give two shits less about football. Yeah. So
I just waited for it to show up on YouTube.
My friends like, I was playing with two of them. They're like, let's one of them's like, are you watching? I'm like, meh. Like, it doesn't. I'm not gonna run out to the living room to watch a trailer I could watch on YouTube in like 10 minutes, whatever. But then like afterwards, we're continuing to play, and one of our other friends logs on. Like, they have this like 20-minute discussion dissecting the entire like trailer, and like part of me was like, and I was like, well, now I gotta go watch it because I have to make sense of what the hell they were talking about. Yeah. And then it's like, you can order tickets today. I'm like, hey, it's only midnight, so I went and ordered my tickets online at midnight for my girlfriend and I to go. And you can order seats at the one I went to because they're the reclining ones and the nice little like reclining chairs and awesome. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get two of them for the 3D show, because even though you think they're garbage, I love the 3D ones, but you have to pick just the right ones. I think there's a lot of garbage ones out there, but if you could pick the right one. I mean,
because they don't. None of those movies shoot in 3D, so they just hire a company to go in and do it later. But usually they don't pay a lot of money, so it looks terrible.
The Hobbit was shot in 3D.
Yeah, that was shot in 3D, and then they had Weta do a lot of the post work to make it look better. And sometimes when they take the time to do it, they do it right. But usually it's just a movie studio says, hey, we can charge $5 more if we just pay a few $100,000 to get this third-rate company to slap some fucking blah at it.
My favorite part of that whole thing was like going to the first or second 3D movie ever, and they're like, it's $5 more for the movie. I'm like, well, why? Like, well, you got to get the glasses. So I'm like, if I give the glasses back when I'm done, do I get my money back? Like, is it like a deposit? And they're like, no, but you can recycle your glasses afterwards. I'm like, fuck that. I paid $5 for these glasses. I'm keeping them.
Yeah. Luckily, for the Avenger, all the Avenger movies and stuff like that, they gave us special Avengers 3D glasses, which was nice. But I still would rather like not see it in 3D because it wasn't intended for that. I don't know. I mean, the only times I ever kind of enjoy it, a fully CG movie, like if you watch a Shrek or a Minions or one, and there were like sparks, and the sparks were in the foreground of them thing, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool effect. But whenever I think, part of my biggest problem is when I think back about watching a movie in 3D, when I think about The Hobbit, I don't think about the 3D effects or the things that came. I think about the story and the action and all that stuff, and it doesn't stay with me. It's like a distraction that I don't think adds to anything to the story.
I believe I saw Ant-Man in 3D, and then the second time I saw it, I saw it not in 3D. And I did feel like there were points in that movie that they designed specifically for the 3D, but they were very gimmicky, like when he's in the bathtub and you get the whole experience of the water coming out. I'm like, this is completely designed for 3D, but the movie doesn't need it to stand. They just threw it in there because they needed to have an excuse to have 3D glasses on.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just don't really get it. But you know what you can get, listeners, is my book.
You have a book? Is it a NaNoWriMo book?
It is. Well, it's now technically a self-published book. But yeah, last year for NaNoWriMo, I wrote a book, which I talked about. And then I did a little revision on it, had some friends read it, and they were like, hey, it's not so bad. You're not completely terrible. Like, really? So then I've been contemplating like I publishing it for a while and getting it going through a publishing company and all that stuff. And Amazon makes it so easy to self-publish. And last night I just said, fuck it. And I did it. And they said it was going to take like 72 hours or something like that. So I wasn't expecting it to pop up till like Friday. But as soon as I woke up, it's live. So yeah, you can actually go right now for $2.99 American. I don't know what it is in other countries, but it's probably about the same, whatever that conversion rate is. And you can buy my book. I think it's worth. It's $3 for a book for I don't think it's a terrible asking price for the amount of content that is in it. So I would suggest that maybe if you're a listener and you want to maybe support me and my continued writing efforts, maybe check it out. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can download it for free automatically. You don't have to pay if you have that service.
You'll get a huge wave of people from our show that'll do that. I mean, I can tell you, speaking from the fact that I make artwork for people, I mean, you'll be rolling in dough.
Yeah, I'm not expecting like this to self-sustain me. I just figured, fuck it, I'll throw it up there to have it up there. But it'll be nice.
You're looking at the next George R.R. Martin right here.
Yeah, J.R.R. Tolkien, E.R.R. Reichert.
It's been a big 2-3 months for you. I mean, you got a job, now you're published. You figured out how to fix something in a car.
Yeah, I'm driving a car. I had an audition, which I didn't completely fuck up, but didn't get the job. But then, as far as I can tell, nobody got the job. So I'm like, bully for me.
I wasn't bad because nobody else got it. So therefore, I was on par with at least everyone else.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It was a thing that was supposed to start shooting last Saturday and go live on YouTube and stuff like that, and then it just didn't. And everyone I've talked to I knew who was at the audition was like, yeah, I didn't hear anybody get the job. So I don't know if it just didn't happen or what, or if they were lying to us and they're doing something else. I don't know what the dealio was with it, but yeah. But my book, it's called Soulbound. You can search for it on the Kindle store, Soulbound by Eric Reichert. You'll find it's got, the cover's got a picture of a man in a hood with a knife, and it says my name and the word Soulbound on it.
So who did the cover work?
The cover work is from iStock Photography, because because I was like, I need Kindle lets you build, like you can build the covers through the Kindle store, and that's great. And they have a bunch of free photos you can use and stuff. But I just was like, for a while when I was thinking about self-publishing it, and I was looking at different things I could do and different like stock photography I could use when I thought I was going to have to Photoshop it, which is nice. I didn't have to, so I didn't have to fuck it up.
I don't know. Your tire explosion. I mean, your Photoshop's pretty good.
It is, but then you have to worry about like sizing and stuff like that. Kindle makes it so much fucking easier to do all that stuff. So I just was like, this was one of the, I had a couple of pictures that were like maybes, but this was the one I was like, yeah, this does work. Like it kind of teases some stuff about the book. It doesn't, I think it kind of catches the eye a little bit. I mean, I'm sure I could do a lot better if I had a publishing company, they would make probably a 100 times better cover than I made with this. But even just using a stock photo I got from iStock Photography and the Kindle's book cover maker, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I think it looks professional enough for what it is. For my first self-published novel, I'm pretty fucking happy with what it is. And you can find, if you want to check it out, you can either search on the Kindle store for Soulbound, and then the one written by name. There's apparently a lot of, I didn't realize this, a lot of books with that title. But almost all of them are like part of a series. Mine's just the word Soulbound. And it's got it's a black and white cover. By my name, Eric Reichert, at the bottom. It's very clearly, if you click on the thing, you scroll down, you see a picture of me on there on the About the Author section.
One of those pensive, like, trees behind you kind of looking off to the side?
No, it's just my acting headshot because it's the best photo I've ever taken in my life. But yeah, I mean, you can check it out. It's according to Amazon, it's 221 pages. So, I mean, I don't know how Kindle spaces it out. It was about 300 in a PDF version earlier. But yeah, it's 51,000 words. It'll take you not too terribly long to read, but long enough that you'll feel like you definitely feel like you get $3 out of it. I mean, how much do you pay for a movie? Movies are like $15 for an hour and a half, whereas this is $3 for, I don't know, 4-6 hours. I don't know how long. It depends on how fast you read. I don't know, but I think you'll enjoy it. I think it's a pretty easy read, and it's, if you're into fantasy or just want to support my writing, maybe check it out. I'm
waiting for it to go book to tape. Like I'll get the audio version when it makes it.
That might be a step in the future. If it does kind of well, I can actually self-publish it on Audible, which a lot of people do. They self-publish on Kindle, then they use the money to hire people to do it on Amazon or to do it on Audible.
Need to, just you, me, and Joe. We could totally do all the voice acting.
I would probably go with my friend Kyle, who does it for a living, or the several other voice actors I know that aren't the two.
Yeah, but we got to break out somehow. I'm just saying.
Yeah, do it on someone else's fucking work. Yeah. So that's something that would probably in the future I might consider doing that. But yeah, I was happy with the experience. The Kindle stuff makes it real easy. So now I'm like, because my big motivator for throwing this up was I was tired of not doing it. I was tired, and as I always tell myself, art is never finished. It's just abandoned. So I figure I'm pretty happy with the version.
Abandoning.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the version that this is. I want to move on to other things. NaNoWriMo starts next month, and I already want to start. I'm starting to germinate the ideas of my next novel, which I don't know how that's going to turn out, but I wanted to focus on that, and I didn't want to have this.
What I really hear you saying is you'd love to have some of our listeners, I don't know if there's a rating system, but I'm sure there is, give it the equivalent of 5 stars and then write shit's week under it.
You can rate. It's like any other Amazon product. You can rate it 1 through 5 stars. You can leave a review. You can do all kinds of stuff with any Amazon product. If you have Prime or Amazon Kindle Unlimited, you can have it for free and just read it. There's even a thing you can get a free sample, I think, through the store. So if you want to just check out. I don't know how long the sample is. I don't use a lot of their stuff, but you can just check out the free sample through them, or pay the $3. It's not much, but if you have a chance, maybe check that out. That would I would appreciate it because I think I honestly do think people will enjoy it. I was actually really proud, and I fucking hate myself. So when I'm saying people might enjoy it, that's got to mean something.
And in a long roundabout way, what I'm really trying to kind of get at is I would love to visit Japan someday, and I'm planning on going to Australia. I actually never answered the question because I wanted to give Frake just kind of a taste of his own medicine and answer the question way later.
Answer it in 3 episodes.
Yep. By hot air balloon or TARDIS.
I actually like. I took a train once to BlizzCon. I actually like the experience. The only problem is trains are so much slower than airplanes, and especially the one from like Sacramento to Los Angeles is so less convenient. It's like, hey, take an airplane. It'll take like an hour, or take a train. It'll take 14. But you save $20. You're like, fucking A. Like, I'll pay the $20. But the train's an interesting experience.
I think I've only traveled on those trains like as a kid when they're like, hey, hop on this, whatever Denver train. And you can experience what it's like to ride a steam locomotive. I can't say I've ever taken a train. It's like, hey, let's go to someplace real.
Transit trains are a lot of fun because, they're like airplanes, only you can get up and move around. You don't have to worry about assigned seating. You've got, a very comfortable chair. You got a table. They have electrical outlets. They probably have like Wi-Fi and shit now, but even if they don't, like everybody's got cell phones and shit. But yeah, and if you want, you just get up. You can walk to a different car and buy food and stuff like that. You don't have to wait for some lady with a tiny cart that smacks you in the elbows to sell you $5 for a thimble worth of Coke, and you don't even get the full can. It's a much more comfortable experience. But again, the train system in America is garbage. It's slow and roundabout ways, and there's no direct routes to anything into major cities because who wants to build train lines anymore?
Psh, not when you can just teleport yourself through a microwave.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyway, I don't know what else to talk about. Joe's not here, and we're getting towards the end of the show. We have no more emails. I don't think anybody wrote in.
Not that I know of. We can talk about... I forced myself to be a little social this week, which was interesting.
Did I know that? No. I think it's just shocked still that you've been able to be so social up until this point.
Yeah. So, like, at work on... the Thursdays and Sundays, they let us go through some of the mazes. They escort us through the mazes. And I didn't go Thursday, but then Sunday I was feeling pretty good. I wasn't tired. I wasn't all that sore. So I decided to actually force myself to go with people and go with a group of people and be social and go to these mazes. And it was an interesting experience because I don't normally do that. I'm normally get the fuck out of there before someone tries to talk to you. But I forced myself to do it, to sit and wait and hang out with everyone until they got around to taking us, and then take the bus there and then talk with people during and after and stuff like that. It was an interesting experience, being social and forcing myself to do it. And I'm trying to be better about it, especially because of work being the days that it is. All my normal social events have been taken away. So now I'm actually, now that I have a job, I'm less social than I normally was. So now I'm trying to force myself to be social in place. So I'm going out tonight because I was I haven't seen these people in weeks. And I
really, really hate Back to the Future, but I haven't seen these people in a long time. So I guess I'll force myself.
Can't fucking stand it. I mean, I'm just fucking what? But yeah, I'm it's weird. The less time I have, the more time I'm dedicating towards being socially active and friendship and stuff like that, because I can't, because before, when you have all the free time, you're I'll see those people later. But now I'm I don't know if I'll ever see these people again.
Well, I'd say make friends at work, but from what I remember, you're not allowed to talk at work, which makes it super difficult to make friends.
We can talk when we're not on set, and there's plenty of time when we're not out with set, and I've talked with people.
But then you're too busy playing on your phone and can't be bothered by the guy who just tried to strike up conversation with you at random points.
Because I don't play on my phone because I don't keep any games on my phone because I just don't. I stopped doing that when I got the new phone. I just was like, no games on the phone. I don't need that. And there was a day I was like, I sit around so much without doing anything. I started listening to podcasts. But then as soon as I started doing that, one guy was like, hey man, if you stop listening to your music, you like talk to people. I was like, fucking god damn it. So now I don't do that. But and I socialize a little at work. I know the guys. Well, I knew there were two other guys who were soldiers with me. One of them quit because other things came up, and one hasn't been there the last few days because he had him off. So my little group of three guys was just me. So I've had to force myself to talk to other people now. So that's been interesting.
I'm sure it must be super painful for you.
Yeah, I was like, I made 2 friends. I don't have to make any more because I got 2 friends, and then they're not here. I'm like, now I'm fucking alone. I have to talk to this guy now. He's a perfectly all right dude, but I didn't want to have to learn any more names. Now I have to learn 3 more names.
Just call him, hey guy. Hey guys, plural. Hey, well, I see. I've been trying to play more D&D since our D&D group fell apart.
Yeah, I've been playing D&D too, but as a social thing with real life people.
Well, and I've been having a lot of fun running a game, but 2 weeks ago, I accidentally party wiped everyone pretty much. So I only had 3 people left over. And so the rest of the group's was totally cool with it. It wasn't me just going on my way to be a jerk. Their tactics were all messed up. So well, we're going to re-roll. So I'm well, I don't know what to do with the other 3 people who are twiddling their thumbs. So I decided to start this intense battle in this Coliseum I made up that wasn't even in the game. And so I've been slowly introducing them every time they finish rolling the character. I'm oh, look, this guy just appears in the middle of the arena. Now you got another person on your team. But I've been there. If they get to level 10, if they get their 10th fight and they win, they get to draw from the deck of many things, which isn't in 5.0 D&D yet.
Yeah.
But they're only level 3 characters. Now, 6 level 3 characters were able to take down a challenge rating 10 the other day with me going pretty ham. They managed to make him laugh until they could all res up and heal up and then beat the crap out of him all at once. So I decided the last thing they're facing off against next week is an adult black dragon at CR 16. So I'm pretty sure they're not going to be able to take this guy. In fact, I'm kind of secretly hoping, but I'm not going out of my way to try to be a jerk about it either.
That's what happened. We have a couple of different GMs that switch off in our game, and one time he had us. The last time one of them ran it, he had us go against. Basically, there was a meeting between a band of orcs and a band of frost giants, and we were level 6 or 7, and it was clear that there was no way we were supposed to fight these guys, but we all know secretly he fucking wanted us to fight these guys and get wiped out because when he's not GMing, he's playing this barbarian who's dumb and runs into all the fights. So if he were playing his character, he would have just charged in and we would have all fucking gotten obliterated. But instead, we used magic and shit to make them all fight each other and then break apart this alliance. But we're secretly, it's he wanted to fucking kill us. We know that.
That's what my PC said because it was part of our birthday celebration. So and it wasn't in the storyline, and I was kicking their ass at one point, and they're he's trying to kill us, he's trying to roll us. I'm no, I mean if it happens, it happens, but I'm not really rooting for the bad guy. But then I get a 20, I'm yeah. And they're see, we knew it. We knew you're trying to kill us. It's no, I'm just happy that I'm rolling so well. Not that I'm trying to kill you. I just don't roll this well when I'm playing my own characters.
Yeah,
you roll a lot better as a DM.
I mean, it depends on who you are. But anyways, I think it's time we stop talking about all this horse shit and start plugging each other. My plug for this week.
What was that?
I don't know. There was finger guns and then mouth pops.
Which, if you're a podcast listener, all they hear is popping noises.
Yeah. My plug for this week will continue to be my book, Soulbound, which is available on the Kindle Amazon Kindle store. If you have a Kindle Unlimited, you can get it for free. I don't know how Prime works, but I think there's a thing where you can get it temporarily or something for free through Prime, or you get a trial or something. I don't fucking know how that works. Or you can just buy it for $3, and it's and that'd be awesome. I think you'll probably enjoy it. And that's but take take my word for whatever you want. But that's my plug. I buy my book. Buy my book. Buy my book. Buy my book.
Since I don't really have a plug and whatnot, I'm actually going to use this to tell a quick story about something stupid that happened and use my plug space for that. I'm sure you're familiar with like vampire LARPing or LARPing. We have like a vampire LARP in the area up here in New England, and my friend plays this character named Lily, who she's been playing for about 13 years. And apparently she just got an email the other day from Canadian government people. They sent her this thing like, hey, Lily, why don't you come like vote for our party in this upcoming election? It's super important. Like, it's a legitimate, like, protect our economy, reelect Prime Minister Stephen Harper. It was written to her fictional character in the vampire LARP from clearly a real campaign that was running. Not sure where people get their fact checking done, but they're really trying to strive for that extra vote. Which made me wonder if she registered to vote as Lily. I wonder if she could do that.
Some people get real into their characters, man. I mean, also some people are weird. Like when I think there was like a thing in England where they took a census. They're like, "What's your religion?" And like 10% of the population said Jedi. So now it's a perfectly legal, legitimate religion now.
If you can be Scientology, why can't you be a Jedi?
Yeah. Believe in whatever you need to believe in to get up in the morning is all right by us.
Well, I'm gonna go eat some dinner and then maybe play some Rocket League with Back to the Future cars while you go listen to people reenact Back to the Future live.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for listening. You can always you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Doncor DONCOR.
I am at Railvis at RAILVAS.
And you can always check out the website, justcoolenough.com, where we do a bunch of stuff. And check out all our stuff. Check out the show links for stuff, like the link to my book and all that stuff, which should be the only link this week. But until next week, have a wonderful weekend, and we will all see you some other time.
Bye.
Bye. I wanted to show this, but then I was like, Joe's not here. It's more fun because he's angry that I say it. But I'm not gonna say troll you later, because then that would be terrible.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't say that to a bunch of people.
No.
Unsuspectingly.
I mean, just to say troll you later to a bunch of
it's so tacky.
How disrespectful for me when Joe's not here to just end this show by saying troll you later.